Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk one of my favorite topics, livestock, animals. So, every homestead eventually gets their first animal, and how do you pick that is important because each animal has their own strengths, weaknesses, and quirks or things that you don't know until you have that animal. So, we at the Grounded Homestead recently inherited our first couple of homestead animals. We now have chickens, ducks, and honeybees. And like any sane person, rather than just saying that's enough and stopping there, I decided what's next and wanted a little research on what we might add to the farm next. So I want to share my research with you because having worked with many of these animals before in the past, um, and then refreshing my memory on the things I didn't know about it, I gained a lot of valuable information. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. Chickens are by far the easiest first animal. Most people already have chickens or are aware of the care requirements for chickens. So I started off with that. And they make a great first animal because they don't require a lot of maintenance and it's pretty consistent in terms of what you need to do with them. So basically, feed and water every day. If you have them inside, you can let them out and bring them back inside at night so that way they're safe from predators. And they don't take a lot of space. And if you're letting them roam, they make excellent pest control. So chickens are have a lot of benefits. And then you can get 4 to 5 eggs per week from each chicken during their peak production years. So these are great for beginners, families, and small backyard homesteads wanting quick returns. Within about 4 months, your chicken will be laying eggs. Some breeds take a little bit longer, closer to 6 months, but it's a pretty short return, and you can even buy our hens that are already laying. The next animal is rabbits. So rabbits are another easy first homestead animal. They don't require a lot of veterinary care. They don't have a lot of diseases, and they also reproduce quite quickly. So you can be to your final product, rabbit meat, quite quickly. And one single trio, so a male and two females, can produce over 100 pounds of meat in 1 year. A couple things that are unique to rabbits is that they do need shaded setups. They can overheat kind of quickly in high heat and humidity. A nice little tip is in the summer, you can give them frozen water bottles and they'll just lay right up against it, and it's a great way to cool them down. As far as space needs, they really don't need that much space. About a square foot of cage space per pound of adult rabbit. So if you got a 5 pound rabbit, you want about 5 pounds of space. If you got a bigger New Zealand white or Californian, those you might need about 10 feet of space each. And the female should have their own space. They're pretty territorial, and then you just bring the male in with them when they're ready to breed. The rabbits will pull out hair from their dewlap, this little front part of their cheeks and their chin. And from there, they make a little nest in their indoor portion of their enclosure when they're getting ready to have their baby bunnies called kits. So rabbits are another pretty easy first-time animal. And the nice thing about those is you can often have them in urban and suburban areas where other homestead animals might not be the best fit, or you might have HOA regulations against even owning them outright. Ducks are our next animal, and ducks are really great. They handle the cold a little bit better than chickens. So if you're in a more northern environment, ducks can actually be better than chickens. And honestly, they lay just as many eggs, and their eggs are even better than chicken eggs. They are richer. So bakers really love duck eggs as opposed to chicken eggs, and that makes a great fit. One difference compared to chickens is they do need water, but don't think you need to get a pond. A little kiddie pool would be perfect for them. They just need some water source that they can get into and submerge themselves to clean and prune their feathers. That water can make them a little messy, so some people don't love that. On the other side, you can look at the positive, and all of that duck water is nitrogen-rich fertilizer for your gardens. So you can choose to be a negative Nancy and be like, oh, I hate this mess. Or you can choose to embrace it and be like, look at all of this liquid gold fertilizer I have. The choice is yours, but ducks do make a very good homestead animal as well. Now we're going to get into a few bigger animals, and that's okay because every homestead graduates, and this might be where we're going next. Who knows? I'll probably get a reality dose and put back in place and wait a little while on getting goats. But goats are another one, specifically dairy goats. I just think there's something extremely wholesome about making your own milk, cheese, and butter, knowing exactly where it comes from. And if it's grass-fed, knowing you're getting the best nutrition possible as you drink your morning milk, have your morning cream, cheese on your sandwich. All of that's now, you control all the inputs. You don't have to worry about what sprays were put on the feed they were fed, what sprays were on the grass they were grazing. It's your animal. You're controlling the entire food supply and chain right to the milk on your table. So goats are escape artists by nature, and that is the one drawback. So you're going to need sturdy fencing that is well maintained, or they will show you where it's not well maintained and they will get out and you will have to put them back in and fix that spot. Their feed is pretty easy, grass, hay, and you can give them a little bit of pelleted grain, but they also are great browsers. So if you've got an area of your homestead that you're looking to get cleared, fence the goats in it, and they will take out that brush for you in a way no other animal will. So if you're looking for some fresh milk for your farm or for your homestead without the space and commitment of a cow, goats are a very, very good intermediate step. Quail. So this is one people might not think of, but I'm trying to broaden our horizons and come up with options for people who maybe don't have the space for chickens or ducks, or who have HOA regulations against them. So quail take almost no space, 1 square foot per bird. You can literally fit 10 birds in a 2x5 space. And they like to be, they're flock animals. They like to have a few friends. So it's good to have more than one bird. And these reach egg laying maturity in just 8 weeks. And then you can start having your own fresh eggs from your birds very quickly. Now the eggs are small, but that doesn't mean you can't use them. If you used to have 2 eggs for breakfast, you might need to have 4. But if you've got 5 quail, you should be getting plenty of eggs to supply yourself. And again, the small space makes this perfect for a balcony if you have one, if you're in an urban area. Or if you're in a suburban area, you can have a small little hutch in your backyard, and quail are almost never regulated by the HOAs in the way chickens and ducks could be. So quail are a great first time intro animal if you don't really have a big space for your homestead. Honeybees. So they're a little bit different than all the other ones. These require the least amount of time of all of the animals. Most days you don't even have to do anything with your bees. You just put the hive out and they're out there pollinating all of your garden and really enriching the entire environment with almost no work from you. And oftentimes, if they're well managed, they can produce 60 pounds of honey a year for you. Now, you can't take all of it. The bees need some honey to get through the winter. So you've got to leave them a little bit, a couple supers full. And then the rest is all yours excess, which is just the most nutritious, sweet treat that you can put on your stuff besides maple syrup. But honey's a close second, just as natural. And when you have your own, you're sure that those bees are out buzzing around and pollinating flowers that are from organic plants. When you buy the honey in the store, you have no idea what those bees were pollinating. They could have been pollinating those same Monsanto flowers that you're trying to avoid by growing your own fruits and vegetables. So again, taking control of the entire supply chain is really important. And there's just a few little things that bees need from you. In the early spring, they would like some sugar water, so they've got a food source really close by. And then in the winter, they do need some winterizing of their hive, both of which are quite simple and are detailed in this issue. The final breed that we're going to talk about, or the final species we're going to talk about, are hair sheep. So these sheep don't require the same shearing that other sheep do, which can be a deterrent for a lot of people. These sheep shed their wool annually, so they're much easier, they're much lower maintenance. And hair sheep grow just as quick as other sheep and provide a great lean meat source. 3 to 4 ewes can probably produce 6 to 8 lambs in the year. So, you're looking at a pretty substantial meat source on a small amount of space, a quarter to a half acre. And then if you've got pasture for them, it really doesn't take a lot of time. You're going to have a watering routine and a health check routine on the animals, but other than that, they're quite low maintenance, and it's really good for regenerative pastures and rotational grazing. Sheep and goats eat completely different feed sources. I'm not saying goats wouldn't eat the good grass pasture that sheep prefer, and I'm not saying sheep wouldn't eat the brush and browse the way goats prefer, but they work very well together in regenerating and managing the land. So these are the 5 that I've kind of researched. A couple we already have, a couple we're thinking about entertaining. Let me know what you think. What animal are you thinking about adding to your herd?